So again, my name is David Crooks. I'm doing a presentation tonight on the Luminar Neo version 1.0.2. Let's get going. Here's the takeaways of an introduction, overview of Neo's new features, and how Luminar Neo compares with other editors, do a demo, and Q&A. Who am I? I'm not a sponsor of Skylum. I'm an affiliate and will receive a small commission. We already kind of covered that, but there's the link from my affiliate link. And until the end of this week, Friday, you can save $10 if you use my coupon code there. Again, these slides will be on the website if you want to, so you don't need to take any notes or anything. And I'm going to try to get through the slides as fast as I can so we can get to the fun part of doing the editing. And also, if you're going through, as you view the other people, you might want to minimize it to just a single line so you can see the full screen. So who is Skylum? They're the publisher of Aurora HDR and Luminar. They are based in Kiev, Ukraine, and they have around 200 members around the world. So please have your prayers, and you can donate your money to humanitarian aid organizations that are helping the Ukrainians in the war with Russia. And here's a website that you can go and get a list of people to help donate. They're also looking for drone donations, and you can contact me and I can pass that on to the people that can accept those drones. And also we're taking 10% of all profits of the sale of Neo that will go to those organizations that are helping Ukrainian people, including the Skylum people. So what is Luminar Neo? It's a creative editor driven by AI technologies. So Neo is built around a new engine that is created from the ground up and designed around a parametric photo editing model that allows for more flexible photo editing. It's similar to Photoshop and Camera Raw in design, and has a smart edit history that allows for ultimate rolling back. You can also use the same tool multiple times without using layers and masks. It is a non-destructive photo editor, has a raw processor, and includes a share mobile app that you can send photos from your phone to Neo and back again to social media. How does Luminar Neo fit in with the Skylum tools? So Luminar 4 has been around for a few years and it's at end of life. They're not going to support it anymore until the end of this year. They recommend replacing it with Neo. And the Luminar AI was the first AI-based image editor, and it's similar to Lightroom. And they actually did come out with a new update today, which is amazing that these people are still working under the conditions. I can't imagine how you'd be attacked by Russians, still be putting out software and taking care of your family and friends. Some did have to, leave their countries, be displaced and all that. So, and then Neo is the newest AI-based editor, creative image editor. And so most of the AI tools are in Neo now. And they did create a subscription model. And some of the details aren't clear. And so only Neo has a subscription. You can still buy the others on their websites. And so those tools are static. And again, there's a mobile sharing app called Luminar Share. All of the applications can be run as a standalone or as a plugin to Photoshop, Lightroom, and Apple Photos. How does Luminar Neo compare with other editors? So there's really no perfect photo editors that work for everyone. Photoshop has, of course, been around for like 32 years and Lightroom 16 years. So those are the old editing tools. So Neo's the new kid on the block. And Photoshop did add discovery replacement after the Luminar AI came out with that tool in 2019. And so you need to find the workflow that works for you. That's my suggestion. It's got to be comfortable for you. For me, it's still stuck with Lightroom, using collections. And so I still import all my photos into Lightroom. And I'll also do some of the denoise, Topaz denoise, what I use for some high ISO stuff. And then I'll go to Neo to do some photo processing. and then come back to Lightroom and might do some final touch-ups within Topaz Sharpen if any images need sharpening. So for the denoise and sharpening within Neo are not quite there compared to Topaz tools right now, but hopefully eventually they'll get there. How much does Luminar Neo cost? It's $80, $79 for just the software itself, a one-time purchase, or you can do a subscription of $59 per year. Again, I'm not sure exactly why. Some of the advantages are listed there. And then they have the Luminar X, which has some additional photography tutorials and skies and textures that you get as part of that package. So there's a lifetime license with the $80, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 tech support.
David, somebody asked, what cameras does Luminar Neo support, work with?
Yeah, that's a good question. They did have like a third-party company that takes care of for the raw processing, and that's one of the reasons why they just came up with an upgrade to Luminar AI. Is they did come up with more cameras, so I think they have like over 100 cameras listed on the website. They don't have some of the brand new ones like I know the Olympus OM1 is not on the list yet, but there are some other ones that they're continually working on upgrading the raw processing. Any other questions?
Nothing else in chat right now, and I do know it works with my new Nikon Z.
Great. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. So when was Luminar Neo released? The main release was 1.01 was on February 17th, and then they came up with 1.02 that was on March 15th. And again, that's the time frame after Russia invaded the Ukrainians. And so they do have a no question as 30-day satisfaction guarantee policy. And so they did extend that for people that once they get the version 1.1, you have 30 days after that. So it gives a leeway time for when the product came out. What are the Neo requirements? And it's pretty much the same for Windows and Mac. And they're listed here. I'm using a MacBook Pro 8 GB with memory, and it's working fine even with Zoom running in the background. So just another memory hog. It does use the graphics card as well, so that can speed things up. So what's new with version 1.0.2? They did add the copy and paste within the catalog tabs. You can do 3D imaging transform, which says perspective distortion. I'll show that. You can use PNG format within transparencies with layers, which are kind of like textures in Neo right now. It has a faster refresh rate, and you add photos with windows and more keywords, key shortcuts. What are the new tools within Neo? There's the Relight tool, AI tool. It gives a 3D map of the photo and spreads out the light. And I could go through detail, but it's really cool tool. Also can replace power lines automatically with the push a button. It doesn't do a great job sometimes if there's a lot of leaves or things like that. I'll demonstrate that as well. And also to remove dust spots and to remove the effect of dust and debris. And they also have the presets, or like templates in AI. So the preset needs to be really done first if you're going to use presets, similar to what they did in AI. But if you use some other tools, edits, and you come back and add a preset, you're going to get prompted that it's going to try to overwrite those settings and start from scratch. They also have lookup tables, like the cinema photographers do, and a lot of other products use lookup tables. You can share those. They do have layers, again, like they're really textures. We're still waiting for the real masking and layers to come into the product, and hopefully that'll be coming out in the next release. And they also have albums, which are similar to collections in Lightroom. as what is missing right now. Again, the masking AI, the portrait background removal AI, and the histogram hopefully will be coming out soon. And then there's also missing, I think, some of the kind of critical editing tools that should be there, but not, like clone and stamp, dodge and burn, undo and redo. They are working on a creation tool for the catalogs and for the preset and templates for the previous versions. Here's some visual. Go for
We have
it.
a couple of questions real quick before
Okay.
we move on.
Yep.
When somebody asked if the upgrade from Luminar 4 to Neo is free of charge, and I can answer that it is not free of charge because I did it, but I was an early bird and it only cost $34 to upgrade from 4 to Neo.
Right.
David, I think the 59 is what applies now, right?
Yeah, for the subscription model, or you can just do the $80 and it's a lifetime from that with that.
And then the other question is, does Neo work with raw files?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's all.
Okay, thank you. So here's a little visual example, and I will go through this file live, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but that's removing all these power lines. And then some of the sky replacement and the relight tool. So that's just a visual of that. And so start with a demo, and thanks to Rob Trek and others for providing samples in the group. And we'll have a raffle tonight. I do have a version that I can give away. So we have to coordinate from the people in the firehouse and from you, 70 people online, whoever wants to join. I need a unique number and who's the maximum number of people so I can run the raffle. So someone have to count people off to find out who's wanting to be in the raffle for the free copy of Luminar Neo. So let me jump to share. There we go. Okay. So in the upper left-hand corner has the Luminar Neo. This is actually the menu. Doesn't look like a menu. It gives you an about, check for updates and standard menu items. Has your catalog where you can add photos to your catalog. And these are all the 56 photos that I have in my catalog right now, and it breaks them automatically by date. It came with 5 sample images that I will be demonstrating a couple of those tonight. And so just going down the list, it will, there we go. So it has some folders. And so I put all the NVPS photos that I received. There's 21 of them. And I was able to import that whole folder into the catalog. And I created some albums. And so these are the tools that I'll go through. And so I'm going to jump right off into dust spot removal. And so these are images I have that have dust spots problems. This is one of the easier ones. Let me get it. Revert this. I thought I had that. Does everybody see this okay?
Yeah, but I can't see any dust spots.
And there you go. I can zoom in like that and go over to the race tool. This is also one to confirm that everybody can see the tools on top here of my, that's where the actual tools are in the upper right hand corner. I know some of the zoom screens will hide that. So I can just go down and press the button to remove dust spots. And I believe it takes about 20 seconds or so to, it says it's removing them. See what the bandwidth. Yes, it is. So it's analyzing the whole image and removing anything that looks like a dust spot. So some of the other images I showed you took like 40 seconds or so, but this one's done and it's gone.
But does it show you where the dust spots were?
No, it's just gone. It's just gone. Some of them can be really small and really hard to see unless you really zoom in. So that's that dust spots. Let's go back to the catalog. Go down to power line removal. And I'm going to pick a couple of these. I'll go to this one real quick. This is, again, fairly click and go to edit. Again, go to the same erase tool and remove power lines. So everybody can see that okay? So let the magic begin. Yeah, there you go, done. So sometimes there can be some artifacting. This one does a really pretty good job if you zoom in. A couple clicks, and go back here, and I want to pick up, this is Lynn's image, but it has some power lines on the left-hand side here. I can zoom in here a little bit and go with the erase tool, move power lines. There it goes, gone. So yeah, you can spend it with in Photoshop and go back and forth and probably clean it up, but probably not that fast. Yes, can
Is this working? I don't know.
no.
Could you use this as like an editor from Lightroom?
Yes, you can use it as a plugin.
Okay.
It's a plugin from either Lightroom and Photoshop also.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I use it for. Yep. But it can be used as a standalone. I know some people that did drop, all the Adobe products and use just Luminar Neo 100%. But some of the, like I said, the collections and things like that are kind of tied to Lightroom. But yeah, definitely works great as a plugin. One second. I was also going to do, while I'm here, I can do a sky replacement. And Lynn didn't have that great of a sky, and it's fine. But I can see if we can pick a little better sky here. And I actually have some custom skies that I created. And we'll give them some pink and blue puffy clouds. Kind of spruce up our image like that. So there you go. Yes. What you do need to do if you enter in competition for at NVPS, you gotta have the skies that are taken within the same 3-year time period as your image is taken. It's the same day, but at the same time frame, right? And then on the left, I have layers as textures, and it has, you can use textures within here as long as they're your textures, but there's no time frame with the textures. So I'll jump back to the catalog.
Excuse me, David, can you repeat the questions from the people there at the firehouse?
Sure, sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yes, so the question was, I can use my own skies, and yes, I can. You can create your own skies, and I definitely recommend it. I mean, I've always been a proponent for, I'm not going to buy skies. It's my artwork. And if I'm going to replace a sky, it should be my sky, not somebody else's that I didn't have any part in seeing in that image or anything like that. And same with textures that were not my own. Don't only use ones that I used. Make sense? All right. So relights, the next tool. So we got 3 different images here. We can go through and go through this image that Rob Truck took. There we go. Go edit. And so I'm going to use the relight tool. So this is where it's going to do the 3D imaging, and it's going to brighten up the foreground. So I can brighten this to near, and I can crank that up. And I can brighten anything in the far distance, and you can control the depth that it goes into the image. Waiting for it to catch up. There we go. So here you can tell where the depth is by how bright it's. You see it's kind of gradually going into the image. And crank that up. And I can also change the warmth. There's a warmth near, kind of add some color to the foreground here, and then to the distance as well. So it's relight that. Would have been, I mean, you could probably do some masking and things like that, but just using some sliders, I can go down 1 second and do before, that's before, and that's after. You see, it didn't take me much time at all. Just moving a couple of sliders around and improved the photo that much better. And then I can do some skies here as well. Again, I'll go back and pick one of my skies. And I'll pick this guy that I took. And so there you go. So again, before and after. So the question is, if you have your own catalog of skies, can you pick any one of those for competition? And general consensus is that you do have to be within the 3 years. But the textures, there's no time limit. Brenda, I'm going to chime in. I'll keep going here. This is another image that came with the software. And I can do some relight here. And this will also use a couple of tools to change the lighting to really brighten up the image. You can control the depth of it like that. And you can also add some color with the warmth. It does have dehaze and haze. So yes, we can do both. Yep. The question was, do we have dehaze? Yeah. So yes, I'll get to that. And then I want to go to the skies. And let me go back to one of the dramatic skies, I think, or just regular. Actually, take this back. Let me go back. Sorry. I think I wanted to add some sun rays. So I can actually add sun rays. I can move the sun around. It really was over here, right? And you can, yeah, so you can change the sun, the length of it, how many, the glow, how big the radius is, glow amount. I can increase that some. You can actually control the number of sun rays and randomize and add. So again, with a couple clicks, I went from that to that. And yep, there you can add some warmth.
David, I'm assuming sun rays cannot be added for competition. Is that correct?
That's a question for competition people. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
It's just changing the brightness, so it should be fine.
It's more, so saying there's more editing, just changing the brightness of the edit of the image. So they should be fine.
But not adding the sun itself. I mean, because you added the whole sun in.
It's still brightness.
Just a light spot.
Yep.
But the rays didn't exist before.
But you can draw those in with, with the brush.
This is an editing.
Technology, putting that stuff in, and it's
Yep.
like adding contrast as far as I'm concerned, stuff like that.
Just saying, comparing it to like getting contrast.
It's not like you have to submit your original raw.
Right. So let me get going. I don't want to run out of time here. So keep moving here and edit this. This is Rob Treck's photo. Kind of a plain photo of the Lincoln Memorial that had very good light. So add the relight to it again. And I can bump up the far so you can actually brighten up the image of the building itself. Takes a little bit to, there you go. It does have a dust spot, but I'm going to replace that with the sky anyway. I can add some color to it. And then I'm going to go back to, that's the relighting. That's before and after. Before, there we go. And after. And then if I go to sky, this time I'm going to use, how about some sunset clouds, make it dramatic like you, actually is there a sunset. There you go. So it darkened it, even like you're at the sunset. Yes, so it did reflection in the water, and you can control that. You can has a lot of settings within here. You can mask refine it, reflection, how much of the reflection you can add. If you want some water blur, you can do that. It even has some things where you can focus, add grain, add some haze. So there you go. And I did just this earlier also that because it did darken it, so I was able to actually go back in the tool and I see it set it all back to 0. That's where I'm using the same tool over again. And so I can actually do the brightness far again. And so that will actually brighten it up again. Just so if you want to do that, I mean, it's your art. You can kind of change it how you want it. And that's before and after. And then so if I go up here to the right-hand side, it's got edits. And it's so here it shows that I did relight and sky and relight again. And this is showing that it's a raw image as well. Within the raw image, you can actually change the where the profile, camera profiles. So it has those as well. So that's kind of the layers within the edits of the way that the application is designed. So any other questions? So again, it was just a couple of clicks, went from that to that.
How do you import your own skies into Luminar for use?
So one question was, did it push this pink because it was importing sky skies? And no, it does recognize that the image does have light and it will reflect the skies. And I can show that within my own sky, but yeah, it's any sky. Will be used in reflections to add a sky. 1 second is here. And then go click on the sky selection and to get more skies, or you can go to custom and then click the plus button and that'll open up a dialog to let me find my finder or whatever to find more skies.
Oh,
Okay,
okay, thank you.
certainly. Yep, so I think that's most of that one. So here's another sky replacement. It is one of their images. I thought I'd do quickly show another sky replacement. And so we can, here we can add some blue skies. And you can just, with the click of a button, do that. And this will also do the reflection. Sometimes you might want to flip. Yeah. And you can control that. So that was just another example of the sky replacement. And I could use my own if I wanted custom the pink and puffy clouds that I used before. And so there's showing a little bit on the left-hand side. Okay. Yes, question. Right. Yeah, you can, they're pretty good. And you can refine the masking.
Repeat that for the Zoom.
So the question was on the masking, how good are they, right? How good are the masking? So you can do mask refinement. I might have to select the sky again. And then you can do global. And it will show enclosed gaps and any fixating details. So you can fine tune the masking pretty well. And hopefully that the sky will come out with more tools about masking and layers coming out. So it's, yes, like the question is, can I zoom into the roof lines? So yeah, there's, looks like there it's adding a line. No, it just went away. So I can move around on the roof lines. So yeah, does look really good. Okay.
There are two questions in chat.
Okay.
Somebody asked, the one-time price is around $59, so why do they have a yearly price for Neo? And I think you alluded to you're not sure. Is that correct?
Well, the one-time price for Luminar Neo is $80, $79. The subscription price is $59 a year. So you save $20 subscription-wise, but then you have to pay that every year. And some of the details on why they added that, I'm not sure, because that was one of the, like I said, one of the reasons people left Adobe was they didn't want to pay $59 or even $10 a month for every month over and over and over again, every month for years. You just pay $80 and you're done. So that's still kind of unclear even to me. Any
The
questions?
other question,
Mhm.
yeah, the other question in chat is, how is the final image saved? So like if you use it as a plugin in Lightroom, what do you do to save it, or where else can you save it?
Yeah, so if you use it as a plugin, it does come through as a TIFF file. So my image, when I export from Lightroom, it'll convert my raw image to a TIFF file and then send it into Neo and then back again. It'll still save it as a TIFF file. If you use, one of the advantages of using Photoshop actually is if you can use layers, and that will save you the disk space, because some of the TIFF files can get, I've seen some pretty big TIFF files. But if you're using Photoshop, it'll use the layers, and that'll save you that disk space. Make sense? But here's one of Judy's photos. So what are we going to do with this? So it's a pretty photo. I want to try with just one tool called Enhance. I'm just going to do 2 clicks and it'll be done. You do Accent AI, go about 60, and Sky AI, and done. So Judy's laughing at my phone. So of course you can do more than that. But exactly, that's 2 clicks. And again, before, there we go, before, after, before, after. So there you go. And I can do a vignette. I always like that little vignette. And I like the vignette tool. So I go to like 60. That to me is a nice vignette. It's not overdone. You can't really, I mean, you can control it and control where the subject is and the size and all that details. But I think that looks pretty good. Again, here's before and after. So how's that, Judy? So there's the award winner. Yep. So we have transforms. I got some images that people submitted for transform. So I just picked a couple of these. And so this is one of the new tools that they added. So I want to demonstrate that. And the transform is under the develop tool. And also just found that just by going vertical, like -50, around there, 50, 45, 50. How does that look? So before, after. I think if we go a little too far, it starts, there's 49, then it starts really crunching in a little bit. When it goes a little too far. So that's like 62. So like 50, I think is about the best route. Again, before and after. Some of the other image that was submitted for it was like this one. And this is where you have to watch when you take pictures on perspective controls like this, because it does run out of space, get a lot of room. I can at least demonstrate the vertical kind of the same way, but you gotta, like I said, straighten it out. If I go too far, it's going to cut the top of the building off. And then go to horizontal, move it around this way. So there you go. It's before and after. That's about the best I could do with this one. And go back to the catalog. How are we doing on time?
It's 8:18, so you got plenty of time.
Okay,
Yeah, you're doing okay, and the portraits are going to be great.
good. Yep. That is kind of the last thing. Go ahead.
I figured something out about the subscription.
Okay,
You get a lot of presets and,
Sure.
and skies and tools and things like that that get updated yearly.
right. Yeah, so with the subscription, you get a lot of more of the tools, the skies and textures get updated yearly. Personally, I don't, it doesn't have it. Go ahead.
And there's just one more question in chat right now before you get to portraits.
Okay.
So in Photoshop, the final can be saved as a JPEG.
Mhm.
Isn't there there's a whole list of the different ways you can save it? Just kind of-
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, I will get to that after I go through portraits. So go through
Okay.
exporting.
Great.
But I know as using it as a plugin, it's generally, I think you can change it how it goes back and forth, but generally the TIFFs are the best way to keep the full information. Okay, so here's one of the images that came within Luminar. And so they have all these tools for portraits. So I'll go to just on the right hand tool side for the tools. I got the crop tool, essentials that we've gone through. It has a full develop module. As the creative tools here. Mood is where you have the LUTs. And so you can pick LUTs, and they do have even some within the LUTs, one's for portraits. So you can pick one Rosa. And so I can add that LUT, and you can control how much you want. I mean, contrast and saturation. And Venus is kind of interesting too. So different ways of plugging in. Like I said, these LUTs, they are actually doing a fundraiser for the Ukrainian people. If they have a special freedom package of LUTs that they're selling, and you can donate to the cause there as well. And so you can try different LUTs out. And it stands for lookup tables. And again, it's a standard for like presets that a lot of cinema photographers use, and a lot of other tools can also share the same types of LUTs across the board. And then here's the regular portrait tools. Is the portrait bouquet. It's not the best image for that because it doesn't have a lot of bouquet in the background, but you can add some kind of change the background. You can even defocus it and even darken it, the brightness, and highlight the glow, and go through the sliders there. That's the portrait bouquet. And for the face, before I jump in there and zoom in so you can really see the face. So you can go to face and actually light up her face. So you're lighting like that. Let me go back out a little bit, maybe like 50%. So lit up her face, and you can also slim it. Normally I would, if I had a client or something like that, I wouldn't change the slimming, but it can be done through AI. So we can make her face skinnier. Again, I wouldn't suggest it, but it's possible. And so you can also work on her eyes. So you got her original eyes color. We have all these options. We can make her kind of cat, or it's kind of interesting. Play around. Let's have fun with different editing. Yeah, make an owl. Or just do regular brown. So there you go. So you add iris flare, you can enlarge your eyes. Those are pretty big already. But again, I can show before, and after with 3 or 4 clicks. I can whiten her eyes with a slider, enhance her eyes. I'm not sure why they still have the red eye removal. I'm not sure who's seen people getting red eye anymore. That was back in a long time. So you can do dark circles and you can improve their eyebrows, and it did help hers a little bit. So again, I can show before and after. So that's before and after, before and after. And then you can work on her mouth, the saturation of her lips, the redness of her lipstick, can make it redder, add some darkening. Whoa. And you can add some whitening, although you really can't see your teeth that well. So that's before and after. Next is her skin. So let's see how I can fix up her skin, although it's not bad, but in here I'll go in even deep closer so you can really see the changes. So we can, she has some little blemishes. There we go. And you can do some of the shine removal. And one gentleman that was photographing some models, and it was real hot outside and they're getting all sweaty. He spent a lot of hours just in Photoshop fixing the shine on their face. It's like all you had to do is go to Luminar and just click a slider. And there are just some of the skin defects. So again, here's before and then after. Let me just do it here. I'm still thinking a little bit. There you go. You hold it there. Okay. Yeah. So the question is, if I've used this on some normal people. Yeah, I have. Well, they were models to begin with. I mean, they were more like cosplay models, so they weren't, beautiful, gorgeous models like this, but they were still. It's, well, I guess it's all in terms, right? So the question is, if I have multiple races and different skin colors, and you have multiple people. Honestly, I haven't really tested that myself with groups of people. I think it takes care of everybody within the photo, but I will have to try that out. So that's that tool for this one. So the question is, if I got a wedding, be able to select who gets edited and who doesn't. I don't think it's quite that smart yet. But yeah. I'm sure they're working on it.
This is a portrait tool, so
Yeah, it's a portrait tool, so it's like more of a singular portrait. Okay. So again, that's before and then after. Any other questions? When are you there?
I am there. I had to unmute.
Okay.
No, there are no more questions in chat. Sorry.
And how are we doing on time?
You're doing great.
Okay.
I think you've got time to work on the other portrait a little bit too, if you want.
Okay. So here's more of a body shot image that came within the software. Go to edit. So I did see within the body, actually does start in the middle, so I can actually make her heavier or thinner. That's kind of interesting. But she actually is heavier in the waist, abdomen, or the abdomen. Or I can make the shape skinnier. Normally, again, I wouldn't touch anybody's body unless that's something really necessary, but the tool has that option. And so again, I can change her face, lighten the face a little bit. Slow my face a little bit. Let me zoom in a little also, so you can see. Makes it easier to see. Have this skin, any shine, any defects, AI. So there's before. Let's see if it catches up. There we go. After, before. No, there's no hair. The question was if there a hair slider. It's just, but yeah, it would be nice if they had, especially if some flyaway hairs or something. Yeah. But probably with the masking, when you get that masking tool, to be able to add masking tools to it would be nice. This already is pretty much a high key tool. I can show some more. Is it really an extra high key?
There's a good question right now is
Okay.
can you create actions so that you can reapply all the previous steps quickly? So make your own preset, I guess.
Right. So no, right now the presets, and I'll go to presets now so I can demonstrate that since I have time. So it automatically, it does do an AI analysis, and it gave for this photo these three options: influencer and blockbuster. And so I can pick one of these, and here's that message saying that I'm going to use presets. It's going to overwrite my other settings. That's fine right now. And then you can also control this, how much of the preset slider you want to control. But right now, one of the things that has been asked for is to be able to save these, create your own presets and create your own. So it'd be nice to be able to sell some or have your own package of presets. And let me go back to presets here also. You can get some funky ones that like add some color and different backgrounds. So that's another thing. Also with the layers, let's see, I do have one texture. This is one texture that I just created. This is snow, really. And I can, let me go back to tools. So I got the layer properties. It has opacity, so I can control how much opacity. And I can also create a mask so it doesn't affect her. Something like that. And just do a quick and dirty mask, and I can, so then she won't get the, or she does get it, and then I can also go and invert it. So she's not included in the mask. Okay, and then I can select subject. That is coming within the next, for the layers and masks. I know that is one thing that they're adding. Like if you had a road, you'd be able to select the road. So that is just select subject and things like that, like you have in Photoshop. They are working on upgrades for that, and hopefully, considering what's going on in the Ukraine, it's amazing they've been able to come up with updates already. So that is slated to come out. So then I can also hide and remove this layer and go back. Any other questions? So the question is, are all the programmers in Kiev? I think some have, in some of the management, I think even the CEOs want to join the military, but some have gone to like Poland and Paris and other countries around that area to get out of the country. So they have all the financials, and that are in other countries, but they had talked about having like conference calls and air raids go off, and they have to shut the lights off at night and everything. So yeah, it's amazing. I can't imagine. So let's see. We've been towards the end Lynn, your status?
Yep.
Okay,
All right. And there are no
So-
more questions in chat, except at the end, they want you to repost the link to get Luminar Neo that you showed at the very beginning, but otherwise there are no more questions.
okay. So to export, there's, go through, I don't know why they couldn't make this icon any bigger to export, but they have disk messages. You can go to your messenger or to mail, and you can connect to the Luminar Share app. And you just go through a QR code and it'll connect through either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And so I'll just go to disk and show all the options there. And you can see that, all right? Yep. So this is the title here. You can change that to whatever you want, of course, and add any tags to it, where you want to save it. You can do sharpening, similar to what you do in Lightroom, which I don't really recommend. I always turn mine off in Lightroom, and because I don't know how much sharpening it's really going to add. So I just keep that as none. You can resize it. You can do the original size, or you can control the dimensions, like for competition. You can get your color space. You can actually do ProPhoto, Adobe RGB, and sRGB. Most of the time it's going to be sRGB for the internet. And then it does come with multiple formats to export JPEGs, TIFFs, even JPEGs 2000, Photoshop, PNGs, not PNG, PSD, thank you. And then PDFs also. It's kind of interesting. So that's the options for exporting. Is there anything else?
David, if we bought Luminar Neo now, would we be able to upgrade when the masks come out without buying a new product, or should we wait?
No, I mean, if you buy I think either one, that is one thing that I think that Skylum and the Luminar team has done pretty well, is once you buy into the product, you get free updates. Even with the Luminar AI, I mean, I just bought it one time and I still just got an update today. And so
Okay.
it is really good for free updates. If you, obviously with the subscription, you're gonna pay again next year, which I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but I guess want those other tools and features. But for $79 a lifetime, you know, they're going to come up with more updates, including the masking and everything else.
Okay, great.
So should I go back to?
And somebody's asking, can you show import photo files? I'm not quite sure what that means.
Like add files, and yeah. So here's where I added the folder. You can see that. But yeah, it brings up the just the dialogue for importing files. You can do one at a time or a whole folder at once. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, yes, it answered the question.
Great. All right, so let me go back to, let's see if I can go back to, yep, the slideshow. You can start clicking people's names. So I can jump back to the links for my affiliate link, and the DLC photos is you can put that in the chat, Jeff, or
Sure.
appreciate it. The question is, do they have their own training videos? So yeah, if you get with the Luminar X, that includes the tutorials. Also Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock, they do their own coffee break, and they do all sorts of photography and using, ask them anything about using Luminar Neo. So, and I usually attend those myself to keep up to date. And are there any other questions?
I don't see any in chat right now.
Okay, and we're out of time.
I think so, but does anybody else have questions? One of the things I want to mention is that upgraded to Neo. I hadn't really been using Luminar for a while. I used to use McFun a few years ago. But when I upgraded to Neo just this last weekend, because Dave was asking for some pictures, it took me literally 2 minutes to get rid of my power lines and change my sky. And I had never even opened Neo before. I can't tell you how easy this is to use. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play with.
Yep, should have fun with your editing. Shouldn't be a challenge or too hard to use. So,
And Luminar has been the model for doing portraits for a few years now.
Great.
They continue to shine in that arena.
okay, cool. Thank you. So open to any questions, Bill?
Yeah, I was looking at the website and I was pretty impressed with that bouquet.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't the best example, but go ahead.
From just the background, and
Right.
really gives you a nice little background.
Yes, so Bill is saying that the portrait bouquet really does a great job if you have lots of lights and it'll darken down the background. And so, yeah, it's cool. Anything else? So ready for a raffle? So I figure, well, first we need to find out how many people are in here. Okay. And everybody needs to get a number. All right, okay. Okay. I already got a copy. So someone in the participants, we need to figure out who can start from number 16 and go through, like we do, and go one by one. If you're on Zoom, right? Okay. If you want to call out who's number 16, 17th, and going down the list too. Question?
Number that I picked was 17.
17?
Start with a higher number.
Starting at 18? Okay. That's fine. It doesn't matter, really.
Well, if they don't move, I can just go down the list here. I don't know how to show them. They move. That's the problem.
Yeah. I
Um,
guess.
Sure, that's not their fault. Let's see. Can they just remember their numbers?
Yeah, or write them down or whatever, just as long as they know who they are. Yep.
All right. Can I give me your microphone for a sec?
Yep.
Okay, remember your number. 18, Ginger Wirtz Patrika. 19, Alan Goldstein. 20, Art. 21, Barbara. 22, Bill and Jennifer Kang. 23, Bill Milhauser. 24, Brenda Wilson. 25, Cheryl R. 26, Chuck Back. 27, Craig Nedrow. 28, Gary Perlow. 29, Gail Dennis. 30, George Hodgman. 31, Gary Abbott. 32, Elena Alvarez. 33, Janice Kane. 34, Jennifer Nguyen. 35, Joe Lear. 36, Joe. 37, John. 38, John Barnett. 39, John Nash. 40, John Olson. 41, Judy McGuire. 42, Jules Zabo. 43, KHV. 44, is that where I am? Kim Colley. 45, KN. 46, Leslie's iPad. 47, what the heck is that? Lemhart 80 ID 21. 48, Linda Famine. 49, Michael Alex. 50, Michael G. Block. 51, Noreen Allard. 52, Owner. 53, Patricia Corey. 54, R. Ebola. 55, Rena Schild. 56, Robert. 57, Robin Weiss. 58, Roger N. 59, Ron Taylor. 60, Ruth Alheim. 61, Susan Blaylock. 62, Tammy Tidewell. 63, Wayne Gunther. 64, Willa. 65, Will Van Holly. 66, Mike's cell phone, who's probably already been accounted for, but 66, yep. You do 65 because Mike probably has a number already. Okay. So Random 65, and we are recording this, so don't.
Number 22. Who's got number 22?
I didn't stop the wheel.
It's done. It was at 22. Anybody has 22? Of course.
Yeah, Bill and Jennifer Kang.
Great. There you go. Great.
We don't win anything.
Now you did. Congrats. So yeah, just send me an email and I'll get you the license code.
All right. Thank you, David.
Certainly. There you go. That concludes. Back to you, Lynn.
All right. Any other questions of David? This was so interesting. So thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? Then I think we are probably done.